Today I bring a message which has been placed on my heart. This message is all about peace. For generation unto generation and for decennia after decennia, humanity is debating about how to bring peace on earth. But the point is, the type of peace that humans think that peace is not the way as God the Father sees what peace is. If we truly want to have a peaceful world, then we need to acknowledge and embrace that we are a child of God and that we have sonship in God, and that we also have to have the willingness to do the will of God the Father, and so to have our will fused with His will. If we truly want to build a different world that is based on love, truth, beauty, kindness, and thus peace, we can have this if we would start today to acknowledge that each and every person in this world is a child of God and is with this a brother or sister, and that there are no such things as the one is better than the other. We can learn from each other, and we are all souls that are learning and experiencing what it is to live a mortal life in a mortal realm. So this is the message. Bringing peace into this world is, as a matter of fact, something that should not be related to all sorts of debates. It is very simple. Just acknowledge and embrace for yourselves that you are a child of God, that you have sonship in God, and that if you are truly willing to do the will of the Father, then you shall experience a type of life and eventually a type of world in which this peace is there, and in which we all can finally grow step by step into a spiritual brotherhood, where we accept each other, where we can learn from each other, and where we accept that each one of us is on a different soul learning level. So this is how we can have peace. We do not have to debate about it, and we for certain do not have to create all sorts of idealisms to realize this peace, because all these human idealisticness and idealistic agendas that are now being rolled out in a rapid pace do not contain in any way, shape or form real peace. All the things that are now being rolled out are being created by a group of people that are in themselves highly traumatized and highly insecure people, whom are tremendously disconnected from God and life and love, and whom we can see as tremendously confused, utterly confused, I would say, brothers and sisters, who are living in this self-created illusion that they can and have the right to create a type of life in which they think that is good for each and every one. And this is in accordance with a shorty that I also recently have uploaded about those who conquer, try to conquer the world and have the desires to form it according their desires and will and ideas. This is exactly what is happening, and the saddest part of it all is, due to the fact that the majority of the human races are still having fear for these people, we see now a situation being rolled out in which eventually this attempt is being done to have the rest completely shut down, and in which the rest of us will no longer have anything to say, or will no longer have a say in anything. And this is not the type of peace that God has in mind. The type of peace that these utterly confused world leaders, politicians, and all those whom are part of all these organizations that are rolling out all these so-called green agendas, which are not green at all. These people, they are having an ideal, an image, and by themselves created image of how peace should be. The way they see peace is by having full control over the rest. That has nothing to do with true peace. But again, if we want to have this peace created in the world, then we should see each other as brothers and sisters, no longer being divided by gender issues, color, skin color issues, and whatever. These are nothing more than distractions. If we want to have real peace, then we should also for ourselves on personal level have to acknowledge that we are a child of God and that we have sonship in God, and that if we truly want to experience a different type of life than we so far for eons have experienced, then that we have to do the will of God the Father and have our will fused with His will. And if we do that, then we will see that we no longer have to worry about what to eat, what to wear, where to go, what to do, because God will give it to us, because He knows that we have basic needs. And He will show you what you can do for Him to fulfill a part of the plan that He has. The plan is simple. God has just a plan that is built up in several layers. The final goal of God is to have all worlds, constellation systems, universes, brought into light and life, which means all inhabitants of all these worlds, constellations and systems, human as well as non-human, also being brought into light and life. in the meantime, God is pushing us into this spiritual brotherhood. So each and every world, system, constellation where mortals are living, and also non-mortals, celestials and so on, but especially this is for the mortals, this message, that all mortals eventually are able to be this spiritual brotherhood in the world that they are living in, which means that all the human races living here on Urantia needs to be brought into this spiritual brotherhood, which means that we see each other as brothers and sisters, that we are acknowledging and understanding that we are here to fulfill God's plan, not our selfish plan, no, God's plan, and that each and every one of us is needed in this plan. And so that we have to work in togetherness, not only on individual level, but also on group level, community level, with each other to fulfill this plan. And yes, you can still do individual work. You will have some period that you do more spiritual, individual work, and then you do things in togetherness with other people. But the main thing is that eventually the final goal is to bring all creation into light and life, all world systems, constellations, humans, ascending humans, better said, and celestials into light and life. That is God's plan. And there is all this thing of personal mission and blah blah. That is not really of the case here. We all fulfill a part of this plan, because God knows exactly what you are able to do, and what your capacities and so on are, what your tool set is, what your skill sets are. So that is what is in the meaning. The type of so-called world peace that is now being realized is not world peace at all, and has nothing to do with it. If you want to get world peace by enforcing people into agendas that are completely anti-life based, by thinking that you have to control each and every person, that has nothing to do with true peace. And another thing that also was placed on my heart is to tell you that what we are seeing that is being outrolled is nothing more than the agenda that Lucifer a long time ago placed here on this planet. And the people, the utterly confused people who call themselves president, prime minister, minister, whatever function they are in, some of them could be probable descendants of those whom have worked under Lucifer, or his right hand, Satan, or have worked under the former planetary prince Caligustia, and that they are doing their uttermost best to have this fake freedom plans of fake freedom, to realize fake freedom here on earth, to have this, no matter what it cost, at all cost, fulfilled. But know that this has nothing to do with true world peace. God shall never enforce us to come into peace. God shall never enforce us to follow agendas that are not based on true life. God shall never enforce us to give our free will away. And this is exactly what is going on. The majority of the human races is unawares that they are about to give up the most precious gift after the gift of being able to experience and live life. The second precious gift that God has given to us is free will. And the majority of the human races is unawares that they are about to give up their free will. And that is not a good thing. So again, if we want as human races here on Urantia true peace, a world that is truly based on truth, beauty, kindness and goodness, all pillars from God the Father himself, if we truly want to create a spiritual brotherhood based on the fatherhood of God, then we should start today with acknowledging on personal level that we are a child of God. Better said, that you are a child of God and that you have sonship in God, and that you have to fuse your will with the will of the Father and let his will be the ruling in your life. And then you shall experience a complete different type of life. And then you shall attract those brothers and sisters whom have done the same. Okay, thank you so much for listening to this message. And before I end, I want to read something from the Urantia book. Here, the peace of Jesus' mind was founded on an absolute human faith in the actuality of the Divine Father's wise and sympathetic overcare. Jesus had troubles on earth. He has even been falsely called the so-called man of sorrows, but in and through all of these experiences, he enjoyed the comfort of that confidence which ever empowered him to proceed with his life purpose in the full assurance that he was achieving the Father's will. Jesus was determined, persistent, and thoroughly devoted to the accomplishment of his mission, but he was not an unfeeling and callous stoic. He ever sought for the cheerful aspects of his life experiences. He was not a blind and self-deceived optimist. The Master knew all that was to befall him, and he was unafraid. After he had bestowed this peace upon each of his followers, he could consistently say, "Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." The peace of Jesus, known also as Michael of Nebadon, is then the peace and assurance of a son who fully believes that his career for time and eternity is safely and wholly in the care and keeping of an all-wise and all-loving and all-powerful Spirit Father. And this is indeed a peace which passes the understanding of mortal mind, but which can be enjoyed to the full by the believing human heart. The peace which Michael, for us better known as Jesus of Nazareth, gives his children on earth is that very peace which filled his own soul when he himself lived the mortal life in the flesh and on this very world. The peace of Jesus is joy and satisfaction of a God-knowing individual who has achieved the triumph of learning fully how to do the will of God while living the mortal life in the flesh. And with this said, I have come to the end of this message. And let it all sink into your heart. And God bless you in all the things that you may do for the Father here on earth. Thank you.